Hello, Guardians. Welcome. My name is the Dr. RTR, and today I want to welcome you on a new journey. With me and with others, I want to welcome you to my lore videos. Now, lore videos are going to be a thing where we go through and discuss the lore surrounding Destiny 1 and Destiny 2. We will talk about a lot of things that have been discussed already. We will talk about a lot of things that are potentially not being discussed at the moment.
You know what that means.
With that especially, I want to talk about why certain things are the way they are. For certain things in Destiny and Destiny 2, it has become apparent that lore has been forgotten, in a sense. Lore is one of those things that people don't look after much. It is one of the greatest learning tools in the game, but not a lot of people look at it. And before this starts, I want to give a massive shout out to My Name is Bife. Thank you for all the support, all the kind words on Twitter, and essentially welcoming me into what is to come with Destiny 2 and being in the lore community. I know how faithful, I know how loyal, and I know how real
How do you like that, Fallen?
the Destiny community is and how important lore is to everyone. And I absolutely want to thank you for giving me the time, and I hope that this will be something that we will turn into later on into something that you can feel confident and comfortable in knowing that if you come over here, you're going to get good news. You're going to get good things. So, thank you again to My Name is Bife. I will link his page down below. That way, if you guys want to check out any lore from him, feel free, at all means, to feel free. He is a wonderful, wonderful lore man. But this video for me is something of why. Why is lore important in our nature? Why is lore so important in the Destiny universe? And you're watching at this time some live gameplay from me away from the streams, so I apologize for everything on the screen, but later on that will be dealt with and it will be taken away. Now, with lore, a lot of times, and with Destiny 2 being such a new and a fresh game, a lot of people don't really understand why or what's going on. So we want to settle that for some people today. There are people that I play with in Destiny 2 that don't know. They don't know certain things. The name Crota and Oryx mean nothing to them. We get talking about the Battle of the Twilight Gap. It means nothing to them. That circle over there in Saturn's rings means nothing to them. But for a lot of us who deal with lore, who have been around the game, that circle up there is what we once were. The EDZ. Getting a chance here within the Halloween event to go back to the Cosmodrome, to experience that for the first time again, is something huge for a lot of us. And I'm so thankful that we do get a chance to go back and to do that. It is definitely a wonderful, wonderful thing. But it's one of those things where if lore isn't around, then people don't really know why some of that is important to us. Why that circle up there in the rings means a lot to us. That there's just no context behind that. And for that especially, I want it to be known why that should mean the world. I want it to be known that it's one of those things where we can kick back. We know the story. We know what Savathûn is. We know exactly where Savathûn came from. We know all of that already. There is no mystery for that for us. With that kind of journey, it is something that could be talked about very heavily. There are stories that we will go back to, talking about the Sword Logic, talking about the Book of Sorrows. We'll get into who Savathûn is and who her sister Azura Wrath is. You've already seen remnants of these characters that we read so much lore about through the Grimoire cards. You've already seen them in the Dreaming City. Week 3 of the Corruption. There is the daughter of Azura Wrath. We see Savathûn's song. I know from a personal level, day 1 getting into Destiny 2, the Strike Savathûn song. It sent chills down my fire team's back when we loaded in, because we knew the backstory. And we knew how important this would be. We didn't know how long of a long game this would be, like it is. And then fast forward all the way to Forsaken. We knew who Riven was. We knew what was going on with Mara Sov. The Shattered Throne. Right now, through lore, we know that that is a remnant of something that Mara had done in the Ascendant Realm, that Oryx himself had gone in and destroyed. So to see things like that come to fruition and see it become an actual thing in front of our eyes has been wonderful lore-wise, because you read these stories, you get all these ideas of what it is, what it looks like. You picture it in your own mind. So at that point, it becomes something that is that wonderful. And I absolutely love it at that point. I think that some of the storytelling in that is some of the best that we have seen. You catch things in Destiny 1, our lore basically revolved around the Grimoire cards. And you went through and you played so much Destiny 1 so you could unlock the new Grimoire card. You learned the backstory to dealing with Oryx and what Oryx was, and how the Taken War was really going to affect a lot of us. How that was indeed a thing. None of us really sat down and thought about that until we realized that that indeed was going to be a thing. And once that lore came out and we could read who Oryx was, why did this being, why was he so unstoppable, and why was everyone so afraid of the Taken King? Everybody wanted to know why. And that was very important that they put that in there for us. Is we knew, being done with the Taken King and going through and completing everything with the lore, why that was so important for everyone. And it was a wonderful thing to read and a wonderful thing to see at that time. Lore at times can be watered down. It can be very monotonous with how things are done. But I feel like with enough lore behind it and enough passion, you learn so much more than what is there already. That you know that the minute you load into something like that, there is a story behind that. And that that is something that has impressed me with Bungie, with everyone that has helped with DLCs, with game, the whole nine. There's been an overarching story and a story behind the scenes. Destiny 1, before it even launched, had a huge story behind it. And as things progressed with Crota, with Oryx, we got a chance to look farther down the rabbit hole at that point in time. We learned about things like the Book of Sorrows. We learned about the sword logic. We learned about Curia, who you've seen Minotaurs already running around with the Will of Curia, the Nightmare of Curia. You have seen these names around, and for the average player who doesn't understand lore or doesn't know about that lore, it's just another Minotaur to them. To people who know that backstory, that Minotaur is a ominous sight down a road. You know that because that's there, because the daughter of Azura Wrath is showing up in the Dreaming City, there's issues there. There's going to be a problem. There's going to be issues that are going to show up. And for that, it has been one of the greatest honors that I've had to sit down and read the lore and read the backstories to what's here, why is it here, why is it coming, what is the darkness. You learn so much more off of the weapons, the armor that you have. If I was not in tune with the lore, it would be a thing to where if I saw certain things, I would not even bat an eye for a minute of what it is. For instance, the raid armor for Last Wish, the Great Hunt things. You look at the chest piece here, and it tells you it's Vest of the Great Hunt, which we can all read. That's chest armor as well. But it also says, I wish to be daring, and there's a lore tab at the bottom. Venus, the Great Hunt. The Ahamkara refused to die. For a day, Wei Ning had been fighting it to the standstill with her bare hands, cratering it repeatedly to the ground. Aerith had seen Wish Dragons drive Titans mad by refusing to fall to brute strength, but Aerith was pretty sure that Wei Ning was already insane. Confession time, the Titan said, as she hammered punches in the Ahamkara's tentacle face. I've been wishing this fight would go on forever. Aerith balked. Please stop, you psychopath. We have 6 others to handle. No, we want this, trust me, Wei Ning said. An hour later, 6 shapes emerged from the Venetian Forge. Ahamkara. It's things like this that you read that make you dive deeper, O bearer mine. It's things you see. Eris, Zavala, Shax, Ahamkara. There's a whole spew. The Great Hunt on its own was something that should have been and was talked about. You see Sleeper Stimulant here. Has its own lore tab, and we will go over these lore tabs as they come up in conversation with things. One of the things I want to talk about is something like the Whisper of the Worm. I want to talk about this because it deals with the sword logic. It was and is something, the sword logic is something that has always been around. It's just not well known. It's like it says here. Yet Zol was bound joyously to the very logic that sustained it in its death. It wanted the sword proof, the single proof. It wanted to become a rule which divided the mighty living from the mighty dead. It talks about the sword logic and what that is. And the sword logic is huge in the Hive. It is what they believe in. So to see things like the weapons that talk about us feeding it, the touch of malice, us feeding Oryx even after death, the whisper of the worm feeding Zol even after its death, without lore, that's lost to time. So lore is very, very important to us as we do things. And I hope that you will join me in this very long journey, diving into Destiny's lore and on into Destiny 3. We will go back and we will cover things from Destiny 1. We will cover things from Destiny 2. We will be here when Destiny 3 launches to give you the lore and let you know what's going on. I hope you will enjoy this journey with me. I hope that I will be a trusted source of lore information for you. And again, thank you to My Name is Bife for the encouraging words on starting this journey, as long and as difficult as it can be. Thank you to the Destiny community for giving me a chance to speak about a game that I love and to talk about something that I love in the lore. Thank you to both for opening your arms up and allowing me the platform to stand here and talk about things like this. I hope you do enjoy it. Again, my name is the Dr. RTR, and I would like to thank you for spending your time with me today, and we will see you for the next round of lore.